I don't give a shit.
Sukriti, I have one question I have been dying to ask you.
Okay. Go die.
We have. Nice one.
Like my first job was, my first industry job was working on a film called Piku.
We are trying to make it look like, we're interviewing you. If you give it out that we know each other too much, it'll be so weird. But
Just edit it. I was so overwhelmed because there's a Mr. Bachchan, there's Deepika Padukone, and then you have the fabulous Irfan Khan, Miss You So, and then you have Shirtless Sarkar as your director. When I was a kid, I was actually a very destructive child.
I cannot believe that.
Really?
How?
I can ruin your set in 1 minute. Then
I'll call my wife.
What is this now, guys? Wife and all ka dhamki is not allowed. Please, yaar, host ko change karo, yaar. Abhi kya hai?
Hi, welcome to yet another episode of the Pineapple Podcast. I'm Mario the Legend. With me in the studio today is Krishna the Unstable. We've got a dazzling guest today, Sukriti, Beautiful Chaos. Stay tuned to listen to everything about films and Bollywood. I can't wait to get the show started.
We are back with one more episode of the Pineapple Podcast. It is such a pleasure to be here. And we have with us Sukriti. Thank you so much for coming to the Pineapple Podcast. We are honored by your presence.
You guys have my GPay number, or shall I give it to one of you to transfer the money? Because I have to go through this torture for very long.
Please tell your GPay number proudly to the entire camera. I'm sure a lot of people would love to give you a call.
Please don't tell us that your cab is still waiting downstairs.
It is. It really is. Also, since you guys book our cabs, the meter is running for your money, guys. I don't give a shit.
Sukriti, I have one question I have been dying to ask you.
Okay. Go die.
We have. Nice one. That was quick. I like it. That's what she said. I know. So, we have met a grand total of 3 times. Yes? I'm actually very jealous of quality you seem to have. I don't have this quality. Genuinely, no joke involved here. The quality is somehow, some way, you are able to paroso somebody, understand what they're made of within like 5 minutes of meeting them. Now, is that an industry skill or is that a requirement for you to be in your industry, which I hope you reveal shortly where you work?
Yeah, I think the second, because if you're not able to read the person, I think it also becomes very hard to have a conversation with them on any level. So, initially, while growing up, I remember my husband used to tell me many times that, dude, you suck at reading people. And that's something that always stuck by me. And I really worked on it.
What age was this?
Like when we were in school and stuff like that.
Okay.
He's like, why don't you understand? Maybe their intentions are not exactly what you're thinking. You're too nice to think that everybody around you is nice. So I quickly realized that it's kind of important to understand where the person is coming from, and just to understand that, okay, this person, like for example, you asked me before this, we started rolling, that how did you and I become friends? For me, it was very quick to understand that you don't have a facade. You are this. Boss, this is me. You like it? Great. You don't like it? Middle finger to you.
How often has your reading been wrong or completely off point?
Many times. And I think that...
Wrong now also.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And when I say what I say, I don't mean it in a bad way at all. I think it's a great quality. To answer your question many times, and I think that's exactly when, you think that, oh, I'm going to get along with this person so well. And then, it's not on me, it's on them. Because they behave a certain way and that's exactly how I'm reading it. And suddenly they've just 180'd and become something else. And I'm just like, what just happened? So I think it's not on me, it's on them. So yeah, those are the times when I think it's been very wrong.
So is this on sheer instinct, or is there like some, as mental model where you're just analyzing someone, he does this, he does that, okay, he's this?
No, I think like me, for example, because I know myself best, I know for a fact that when I will meet you, even if I'm not saying enough, my face will give it away.
Mhm.
It's also by the small gestures that people do around you. I think anybody who I see comes with sympathy is somebody I will always step back with. Like I'll step back. But anybody who will walk in with empathy, I'm instantly attracted to that. Because I think that's such a fine line.
What's the difference?
I think, according to me, I think sympathy is already when I'm sympathizing with someone and I feel, when I sympathize with something, I'm already looking at it in a very bichara lens. But when I empathize with something, I want to do something when I'm able to help you. And not in the garb of, oh, you will help me back. But it's just being kind, you know? But sympathy is when I'm like, bichara, what can I do for you? You know? But empathy is more like, how, like, I just want to help you, I just want to be there. I just want to be kind.
You work in an industry where people are trained to have an expression in front of the camera,
Right.
right? And you are looking at that expression 24/7. For anyone who's not figured it out, Sukriti works in the film industry. You are trained to look at these people. And in post-production work, you're going to be watching their expressions.
Right.
On the side, you're also going to be speaking to them.
Yeah.
How much do you see that I'm speaking to these people, and as soon as the camera turns, that's not the same person? Or is that also a job requirement? Should you be able to transition that smoothly?
So you're saying how they are different in person and how they're different on camera? Is that your question?
Should they be? Number one. Number two, are they?
Yeah, because when you're on screen, you're portraying a character. If that character is of a murderer, and then you are also that as a person, I'm running, boss. I'm out.
Maybe the other line I'll take off from Krishna is people who act are able to portray so many characters that maybe their own character becomes, diluted into all these versions they take. So then how easy or difficult does it become to actually read their actual character?
Okay. So to answer that, see, we think, like, when I'm saying we, I'm talking, let's say, as a viewer, think that the job of an actor is extremely easy. It's not. And their job is the hardest between cut. And let me tell you why. When I say role, they are putting on a character. They're switching their mindset. They're switching, they're leaving who they are. And then they're portraying someone else. I say cut. All of that they have to put aside, and suddenly they're them again. And then I say roll again, and then I say cut again, then I say roll again, then I say cut. It can get very, very difficult and consuming. And I think that is, being an actor is really, really tough because you're constantly naked in front of the camera. You're constantly, it's like, I know how you cry. I know how you smile. I know how you laugh. I know what you look like when you're angry. It's such a vulnerable place,
So, Sukriti, how long does it take for an actor to actually fit into the role? If I take the movie Guru, for instance, one of my favorite movies, and I actually saw Abhishek Bachchan that time do something which I didn't see other Indian actors do, which is he actually took the time to fit into the role, put on weight, play a role of somebody who's gained weight. And then, a few scenes later, he didn't have the weight. So, it seems like he put in a lot of effort into that. And how long does it take for a character to actually merge into a person's personality and for him to pull it off? Or does it even happen?
Yes, it happens. But I think every film is subjective. So a simpler character, maybe somewhere where it's easy for you to relate to that character, maybe an artist might take lesser time. But like for the example that you gave, even Pariniti Chopra recently for her film Chamkila with Imtiaz Ali and Diljit Dosanjh, she had to put on weight. And not just a little weight, I think she put on about 20 kgs. When you do something like that, the preparation time can be a lot longer. But let's say you take a film where it's easy for you to resonate to that character. A part of your personality maybe resonates with that character. I think bringing that to screen might be slightly more easier. Like, for example, I was talking to a dear friend of mine, Dimple, about the role of Khilji that Ranveer Singh had to play. Um, how does somebody that evil in like the character, like maybe Ranveer is not that person, right? So what did he have to tap in exactly to play something like that? Even if we take 83, which is Kapil Dev's a biopic, the wiggle room is really less for a character because you're portraying someone on screen, correct? So that becomes even tougher because even like, for example, I wanted to say a certain line in a certain way, but I can't because I'm constantly Kapil Dev. I think that becomes challenging as well, right? So I think each character has to have their own kind of study and their own kind of time. So it's a very role plus script plus dialogue related to that.
So, on the topic, in India, for instance, if somebody wants to learn acting, are there any schools? In the US, is this NYF, in New York Film Academy, and so many others. In India, I mean, what's the gold standard for that?
Acting is very subjective. Okay. So, I might be born with it and I might have interest in it. There are a lot of actors who've never been to an acting school, but they are still great actors. I might be wrong, but maybe an Alia Bhatt, she's phenomenal, right? Like whatever role that she's done, I mean, she's phenomenal, but I don't think she's been to an acting school. But at the same times, without naming anyone, they might be pathetic actors and they might have gone to acting schools. And in India, you have acting schools like Barry John, um, you have Anupam Kher's Academy. There are places where you can go and you can learn the skill of acting, but I do feel you're not an actor till you portray something on screen and you're creating magic that I don't see the person anymore. I see the character.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Where did you go for school?
So I grew up in Indonesia. Southeast Asia for the win, guys. For all you viewers who don't know, he's also brought up in Malaysia and I'm brought up in Jakarta. So, whoop, whoop. Apa khabar?
We are trying to make it look like, we're interviewing you. If you give it out that we know each other too much, it'd be so weird. But
Just edit it. To answer your question, I grew up in Indonesia. I studied there for my schooling years, and then I came to Symbiosis Pune. And you're from Simbi? Wow. Looks like.
See, I got such a bad reaction. You are Southeast Asia bros for life. Whereas you went to the one institute which gave you your job and that's all the reaction you got.
So I don't agree with that. I think
thank
my
you.
job
Why?
is my job.
Why?
I don't think, because my college had nothing to do with it.
What
My
is
college
your
did not
major?
ever. I majored in audiovisual, which is films. So we were watching films, we were analyzing directors, analyzing films, analyzing lighting, camera, etc., etc. But I don't feel like my first job was like my first industry job was working on a film called Piku. I genuinely, I do not feel that what I learned on paper helped, like that translated into anything when I went on my first job.
How did Piku happen? Walk us through that and tell us that day when you got the call. How did that feel?
Great.
it had nothing to do with symbiosis, right?
No.
Good.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. My job is my job. Like, yes, what my director said this, my college, he said that we can only plant a seed in your head. How you water it and what it translates to, that's completely on you. And I think that's a great way of putting it. Like, will that become a bush? Will that become a tree? Will that become a tree with lots of flowers and fruits? That's really how you water it and your experiences, etc., etc. So, how Piku happened? Piku was honestly, I'm very fortunate that people in my family know people in working in the film industry, and I could make that phone call and say, please help me out. Because honestly, this industry kind of does work on networking a lot. So it's just not only your skill or whatever, but it does work on networking. And I'm very grateful, very thankful that they picked up their phone and they made that phone call for me. And I remember initially I got a phone call saying that, oh, nothing's happening right now. We might not be able to help you get an internship. And I was like, okay, if not this, then what? Because that's always been my attitude.
This was an internship
Yeah.
at Piku.
Yep.
Fantastic. So what was your role in Piku?
Intern, as an intern assistant director, where I was a headless chicken running around the entire set. I was so overwhelmed because there's a Mr. Bachchan, there's Deepika Padukone, and then you have the fabulous Irfan Khan, miss you so. And then you have Shirtless Sarkar as your director, and you're just put on that really big set. So I talk a lot. Yeah. I lost my voice on that set. I just like how I am speechless, and I was exactly like that. I just lost my voice on that set. Like anybody would say sit, and I would be like, oh, okay, do this, okay. But it was such a great experience for me. 3 years of what my college was probably trying to teach me, or my life has taught me, I think whatever my life has taught me, but what I learned on that set, the dedication that people have, it really gave me that little insight, that if I want to be here, I have to justify it.
What are the technical skills a director should have? Technical.
I think technically you need to know what kind of a frame you would like for a particular scene.
What's a frame?
Okay. So let's say I'm shooting an emotional scene where you're going to cry eventually in the scene. I don't think that would come across beautifully if I had a wide shot. But if I had a close-up of your face and that tear drops and I see that as audience on screen, it's going to hit me more. So I think understanding that technical knowledge and understanding how to do a shot breakdown, that's very, very important. Because at the end of it, what I want to say via my story needs to translate even via my visuals. So that technical knowledge is extremely important.
So for that, you need to understand how a camera works, how zoom is working.
Camera, cinematographer dekh lega.
Okay.
But knowing what your frames need to be, understanding when you see a horror film, have you ever felt like the tint or the grading of that particular film is very bluish?
Yes.
But then when you look at a romantic film, do you ever feel like it's very yellowish?
Yes.
That's playing on you. That is playing on you psychologically. Because if I put in really bright colors and give that yellow tint, and then I put like a scary character, it might not play on you. But if I have a dingy looking bluish, that tube color lighting, that's going to play on you. And that is a director's knowledge.
So frames is something that
color grading.
Color grading.
Yeah.
Color grading. Now, okay. Have you seen the movie Kante?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
But long time ago, huh?
But I love that movie because of the color grading.
Okay.
There's this orangish hue throughout.
Yeah.
Now, I've never seen another movie do that. That's the only movie I've seen where it has that orangish hint throughout the movie. Okay. And I kept wondering, why did they do that? Why did they do that?
Okay.
But I loved the movie. I still don't know why did they do that.
Okay, I can't comment on this because I don't remember Kante very well.
It's a very orangish hue throughout the movie.
But that's the director's vision, no?
So color coding is for mood setting.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to play on you psychologically while watching it as an audience, as a viewer. It is. Like, this is something very interesting that I learned in my college. If you watch Godfather, whenever you will see an element of orange, you know that it indicates danger. you don't realize it while
Hmm.
you don't realize it while watching the film as an audience, but if you actually study the film, you'll realize that, yeah, and maybe throughout the film, little by little, it started to sit in your head psychologically. So, all of these things, when directors do, I think it just helps, to even give the message out what the director wants to say and translate into a beautiful visual. Like Bhansali, for example, Mr. Sanjayla Bhansali, I am a huge fan of that director
Why?
because what he can do visually is magic.
So I'm going to be devil's advocate here.
Okay.
In my head, all it seems like is he's spending a lot of money on a design,
Okay.
and he is having a lot of actresses wear a lot of heavy clothes,
Okay.
and he has a very skilled dialogue writer. What am I
Okay.
missing?
What you're missing is the fact that even when can you justify Padmavati not dressed or looking like that? Can you justify the character? Can you visualize it any other way?
I cannot, but why is it a Sanjay Bansali extravaganza that can only make it?
That's his film. No, now tomorrow, if he's doing a comedy film inside a house, he's not gonna have somebody wear those heavy jewelry and all of that because that's not going to translate into the character. It's his film. That's his vision. If he's showing a Ram Leela, he has shown that she's wearing ghagra choli and all of that, but she's not wearing that heavy jewelry and all of that because she's also a Rajkumari or whatever, but she's not that, what do you call it, a queen or whatever.
I love Devdas. One of my favorite movies.
Absolutely.
That was one of my. I haven't seen Iravandi yet. My mom has. She loved it.
I loved
It's
it.
supposed to be good, I guess.
Yeah, I loved it.
You
I
will
loved
love it for sure. It's right up your alley. I've always imagined that you were at the wife waiting
Oh,
to come.
thank you so much. Speaking about color coding, I thought I'll jump into this.
Stop imagining Mario. Go on.
Speaking about color coding,
Hmm.
I've always watched the Oscars and, you have the Indian film. There are some categories in the awards which I just can't seem to distinguish. For instance, there's this award for Best Original Screenplay and then Best Adapted Screenplay. And then you have cinematography. Now, can you demystify what aspects of filmmaking these three categories are?
Yeah, original screenplay is when you're not adapting it from any other movie. Like when you say adaptive screenplay, it's probably a remake of something. Like a remake of, let's say, a South film or a film in the West or something like that. So it's an adaptive screenplay. Original is that I have written the story. It's an original story. It's not inspired or the remake of anything else. And cinematography means your director of photography, somebody who's handling the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for instance, if I were to make a movie from a book, so what kind of screenplay would that be?
Adaptive.
Adaptive.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still not your original concept, no?
So The Godfather would be adapted by Mario Puzo then. Okay.
You just wanted to say Mario.
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that in. Yeah.
Mario for the win, guys.
Now,
Leave comments if you love Mario.
so I'm
And
guessing
leave
that
a thumbs down if you don't like this guy.
I'm guessing you didn't start your school life by thinking I one day want to be behind the camera on a movie set.
Yeah.
Right? How did that thought come in? How did that materialize, first of all, as a career? And what did you really want to be when you were a kid?
Nothing.
Very good. All of us.
Yeah, it's shocking. No? For my mom also, it was quite shocking that I wanted to do something with my life now. Yeah, so when I was a kid, I was actually a very destructive child.
I cannot
And-
believe that.
Really?
How?
I can ruin your set in 1 minute. Huh? Then
I'll call my wife.
what does this now, guys? Wife and all ka dhamki is not allowed. Yeah, so no, when I was a kid, I wanted to do nothing in life, honestly. I loved animals and I thought that I was going to become a vet. I grew up to realize that I'm not that smart.
Also, you know what vets most of the time have to do, right?
What?
They go and shoot the animals.
What the hell is, why?
Most of the time, that's what a vet has to do.
I don't think so. I think your definition of a vet is completely wrong and you should not be doing this podcast.
That is why I'm not a vet.
प्लीज यार होस्ट को चेंज करो यार, अभी ये क्या है, बदलो इसको.
ये करियर कैसे आया?
Yeah. So I was actually a very big gup master. Like I could lie like this. Like at a drop of a hat, I could lie and it was very believable. Like, maybe right now also, I might have lied on this show. But you don't know, do you?
No.
Do you?
Yeah.
When?
You haven't lied.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll fact check you later. आगे बोल.
It's a quality.
हाँ.
So, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, okay. I'm not kidding, but yeah, I could lie. I used to love telling stories. So I soon realized that there's something in this field that I want to do. And I started to realize that I'm not really that academic person, you know, like I'm more the creative and all of that. And I love visuals. And
What does
my
that mean?
Dadi ji,
When
let
you
me
say you
complete
love
now.
visuals.
Let me complete. Then my Dadi ji would sit and she would tell us a lot of stories. So while somebody's narrating a story to you, a lot of us just hear the story, but a lot of us also visualize the story, and
She
that
answered
was
my
me.
question.
Yeah, I knew that. That's exactly why I told you, let me answer. So I would always visualize the story. Like if she would tell me, "Wo talwar nikal ke," no, there would be this character, jo aise, you know, like full action and all of that's happening. So that was my strength. So I soon realized that, okay, I'm creative. I like stories. I have some original ideas. And I can visualize. So this seemed like the best medium for me. And I think I love it. That's why it's been 9.5 years and I'm still here. I love it.
You might be surprised to hear there are actually, it's scientifically proven, there are actually two kinds of people. People who think in words and people who think in pictures.
Yeah.
I would like to believe I think in pictures, but a lot of people say I think in words. He, I know, doesn't think much, but
I think
Struggles
he's smarter
thoughts.
than you.
that says a lot about me. So the fact that you think in forms
Visual,
of pictures.
yeah.
Let me first explain why I'm asking this question. In the boardroom corporate environment, right, we get a lot of jargons, we get a lot of examples, particularly around competition. You know, how do you handle competition? Physical combat, for example, is one of the most direct forms of competition. Sports is one of the direct forms of competition. Creative fields, I think films is the most direct form of understanding that a director has a vision and he would like it implemented. But at the same time, there will be a bunch of people who will feel that, you know what, this vision might not work. This is what we should do instead. Now, how does that get handled in such an environment?
Yeah, but it's so important, no? Like if I'm the only person who's thinking and it's only my vision, I might be really wrong. At the end of the day, when you're making a film, a lot of money is riding on it, correct? Like somebody has put in a lot of money and therefore, you know, you're able to take this concept that you want to show. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I have the best idea. And anybody who thinks I am the best that's like a downfall. It is. So, isko nikalo yaar, he's yawning on podcast, guys.
No, I'll tell you what happened. We were actually out on a drive and he saw on the back of a truck something was written, Kondam tab tab, yawn sambandh jap jap. So he mistook that to mean that if people yawn, they should be having condoms with them. So he keeps yawning for no reason. Ignore him. Go on though. You were saying? I like this reaction. It's such...
Yeah, what I was saying is that if you think that, you know, you're the only person and nobody else has better ideas, that is your downfall, bro.
Yeah, but
it's so, and it's so, see, Krishna, if you and I sit and jam, right? We're trying to come up with the best possible script to convey something, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that your idea is better than mine or whatever. And it might just be better than mine. Why should I not incorporate that?
You should. But if you have an idea of your vision, see, I'm trying to understand people who think in images, people who think in that form of creativity.
Yeah. But maybe when you said something and it resonated so much with the film and because I could visually see it, I can also understand that, oh, this would visually also work better. Then why should we not incorporate that? That's stupidity.
How often do people speak up that, okay, look, we could try it this way?
Yeah.
Or rather, is there a hierarchy that, okay, look,
Yeah.
at this point, no. This point, we're doing it this way. If you guys have ideas, there's a separate time for that. We do it at that time.
Honestly, I think at least I can only talk about the industry that I'm working in. It really depends on your confidence.
Oh,
Because I have always been someone when I've said it. Because my mom always used to tell me nothing that you will say, it doesn't you don't become small or anything like that. Like she would just say it. It might be stupid, but say it. You shouldn't go home thinking, yeah, I wish I said it. So I've always said it. Maybe my directors thought that that's a stupid idea, but sometimes they've turned around and said, oh, that's genius. Maybe I might not want to say it when we're sitting in a meeting with the producer, but when I'm with the director, when I'm just with the ADs and the director or something like that, I might say it. I think you just have to choose your timing correctly when you're, still going up that ladder. But I think you should say it. Bindas, bro. Say it. What's gonna happen? They're just gonna tell you they don't like your idea, no? Then move on.
it's a very difficult industry to get into.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one mistake and you're out of there.
So
I feel like people would be very careful about
yeah, but
how they
you're just
conduct
giving an
themselves.
idea. You're not saying, sir, aapka film now. Just can't. You're just saying, sir, this is, or ma'am, whatever, like, this is an idea. It popped in my head. What do you think? There's a way of putting everything. Like, I can also turn around and say, Krishna, tu bahut bakwas karta hai. But I can also say, Krishna, sometimes, when you say things, they're just not relevant.
तो ऐसे बात करना मेरे साथ कितना मजा आता है मेरे
I'm
को।
just saying.
हाँ, why must you always pick option one instead?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what you say sometimes is just not relevant. Isko please edit out mat karna.
Okay, I'm going to interject here. Get a word in edgewise. I know you spent a lot of time in Indonesia. How has your stay there? Has it impacted you joining this film? How has it helped shape the whole conversation in your mind about filming? Did it have any impact or?
Yeah. So growing up in Indonesia, when I'd gone to Indonesia, I was not a Shah Rukh fan.
Oh.
And then I became a Shah Rukh fan because I was in Indonesia and he has a huge influence.
Right.
Like they'll see an Indian walk and they'll say, kuchi kuchi hota hai. And they're not going to tease you or anything. Please don't get me wrong. They're not going to tease you or like Eve tease or whatever. Nothing like that. They're just saying it, because it's like so cute, like, all of that. So that was definitely something. And, when you're not growing up in your country and then you watch something, and especially someone who loves visuals, there's just a certain something that you feel, when you watch something in your language, when there are Hindi songs and I love to dance. So that it just becomes more relevant. Like it just becomes like, oh, mom, aaj naya movie laga hai, we have to go and see it. So now you're going in the theater and then, first you're not talking your language all the time.
Yeah.
It's only maybe at home with my mom and my sister. But then when you're talking to the people outside, you're talking in Indonesian. So there's already that disconnect.
Yeah.
So then when you go on screen and then you watch a full-fledged Hindi movie where, there's dhamaka and stuff like that, there's just that feeling of home. I think that is something that made me really, that changed.
So how many people in the theater would actually be Indian versus Indonesian?
There are lots of Indian in Indonesia now. Come on, you also know.
No, what I mean is, was there a bigger audience for locals than for Indians?
There were a lot of locals, yes, because you do have subtitles in English as well as Bahasa Indonesia. So yes, there were a lot of Indonesians, but you do have the Sindhi community there, and then you do have expats like us who are also there. So there was always a good audience. But I do remember this one incident, okay? Mom and I had gone to watch Ram Leela and we were in Indonesia that time. I think I'd gone there for a vacation. And I think we were a little late. Like the movie had already been on for like, I think 2 weeks or something like that. So mom and I had the entire theater to ourselves. And that was such a good experience because nobody else came. So it was just like me and mom, we put our legs up and, we've got all the seats next to us. I will never forget that experience. I think Mom and I had a fabulous time. And I remember some that song is there, no? So I remember I got up and I did a little step also because I could do that, you know. That's a very core memory. I love that memory.
So you schooled there, right?
Yeah.
So was it tough to fit in there, or was it how was the challenge, or was it
See, I can only speak individually. For me, no, it was not tough but I also feel that is a lot to do with who I am as a person. Like, I don't care too much if you don't like me. So it wasn't tough for me. Like, gradually and eventually I made friends and I was okay with it. I am like, personally, I was fine. Also, I think people are a lot more accepting when they are younger opposed to when they're older. So when I did move there, the kids I was with were also younger. So when we're younger, we don't really judge a lot of things. You don't judge where you're coming from, what your religion is, how you wear, how you talk. But I think the older we start to get, those are the kind of things that we start looking at. So I think even people around me never made me feel like I'm out of place. Like, I just made friends. And I do remember one other incident, which was that a guy, I think it was my first or second day of school, and I would never forget this because he was trying to bully me and I punched him really hard. And I think that was enough for people to know that, okay, this one, you just let it slide, like, let's not, you know?
Yeah, I hope you heard that then.
I was actually about to say I think it's the other way around.
He punched me?
No, when we're younger, that's when we are actually naturally more discriminatory.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
When Kiara was younger,
Yeah.
if she saw
Kiara's his daughter, guys.
when she was younger, if she saw a child who was different in any way, she would point it out very loudly, very vociferously, and I had to teach her that's not a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Naturally, when you're younger, when you see something different, you point it out and you comment on it and you start talking about it. I have seen that once you
Okay.
teach them to come out of it, what
Okay.
you might mean is they don't judge you when you're young.
Yes, exactly.
They
what I
judge
mean.
you when you're older.
Exactly what
Yeah.
I mean. So when I was trying to say that is maybe you will point it out and you'll go home and discuss it with your parent. Your parent might explain it to you, and then you're like, the next day you go, you're like, yeah, but my dad or my mom said this, and it's all good. But when I grow up and I feel something about you, that becomes my perception of you. No matter, you might not be like that at all, but I've already judged you. So I think as you become older, that becomes harder.
Why has the film industry been that one place where people don't face as much judgment as the rest of society internally? Like it's the one place people can be proud and gay if they want to be. It's the one place you can be a woman if you want to be. There's the one place you can be. We can be whoever you want to be in that industry. Why is it that is the one place where you can do that?
See, I always have felt that artists are more literal in the way they think, in the way they are, in the way they behave.
Is that a requirement to be an artist, to be a liberal?
It's not a requirement. I just feel that you're just more free flowing as a person. You are just more accepting because you're a lot more liberal in your thinking. So I think that is why people can openly be who they want to be. And imagine you being in an industry where every single person has an opinion on every single thing you do, how you look, how you dress, if you've put on weight, how you talk, how you don't talk sometimes, how you share your relationship, or you don't share a relationship. Everybody has an opinion about everything. The least we can do is not have an opinion about each other for these things. So I think that is also that could also be a reason. But from where I see it, I just feel that as people who work in an industry which is creative and all of that, I think people are just a little more liberal.
Do you think people have to be
liberal
to be creative?
I was thinking about the same thing when you asked this question. But think of it. If you have an actor tomorrow, let's say let's say a guy, right? He plays has to play a very masculine role. Now, the next time he has to play, let's say he has to play an LGBT activist, right? If someone is right wing, if we already have opinions set, it'll be very difficult, in my opinion, to cross the chasm and act a role which you yourself have problems mentally with,
Yep.
right? So unless you're liberal, you don't accept
Yep,
that. It doesn't make
exactly.
sense.
Exactly. Absolutely. If how can I portray anything that I want to be? Even for example, I want to even on this podcast, if I decide beforehand that I'm not going to give them too much information no matter what happens, then good luck asking me whatever. I'll also give you 1 2 words answer because that's already a block that I've had. So no matter how much you try to talk to me and how much have you tried to get information out of me, I'm just not giving because that's already a mindset that I have. So I genuinely feel that people in this industry are a little more liberated because it demands a lot out of you in terms of characters or whatever they have to play. Even for me to write an LGBT character, I first must empathize with the LGBT community, otherwise I can't do justice to that.
Where are you on the thought then that if you are not an LGBTQ person, you can't play an LGBTQ person?
Right?
Like, for example, Priyanka Chopra got a lot of flack when she played someone from the Northeast, and she is not a Northeastern person.
Public.
Like that perception that you must have that quality, you must be of that skin color, you must be of that.
Sushmita Sen recently did the role of Gauri.
Yeah, and I saw that.
Yeah, and a lot of people said that when you're going to have a transgender person, why not get a transgender?
Yeah.
actor? Please understand this, and I say it with, and I'm just gonna say it. At the end of the day, this is also a business, guys. Sushmita Sen is gonna be able to pull that audience for that viewer to give that story out.
That's the commercial angle.
Exactly, but it is a business at
I
the
agree.
end of the day.
No doubts there, no argument there.
So maybe a trans person who's talented to do that role, I don't know, might be exceptional, right? But I just don't know if that person will be able to get that audience in the first place. But I know Sushmita Sen, and she was amazing in
I
that.
agree. She actually may have done a lot for the community with that movie.
Exactly my point. And
But she
I
got
think
flack.
yeah, but that's a part of it. Like I told you, people are gonna have an opinion on everything. It's just what you want to think is music and what you want to think is noise. That's really how you can look at it. People are gonna have an opinion on everything anyway. So might as well do it and then let them say whatever they want to, right?
Is it correct on their part to say that, to even have that opinion?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have an opinion on everything, that's fine. But if they have an opinion, it's not fine.
No, because I'm a very patriarchal person. But having said that, let me tell you why I'm asking these questions. A lot of times there are actors, like for example, Amitabh Bachchan was very close friends with Rajiv Gandhi. When a scandal broke out, people started tearing off movie posters of Amitabh Bachchan saying, no, we will not go and watch this movie because he's friends with Rajiv Gandhi, who has had this particular scandal. Now, an actor having friends outside the industry, how careful do they have to be with what friendships they have? Because I'm also told those relations have to end when a scandal comes out.
I think where we are today, it's a lot better.
It's better today.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is. Because like I said, society is also evolved, So there are people who have people who are friends with, outside the industry and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So like when Nirav Modi happened, there were some actresses who were the brand ambassador.
Yeah.
They got tons of flack for it. And they said, we didn't know what you were doing. Why are you
Absolutely.
after us? But that happens.
So it happens.
Now, don't people usually do a background check before how does a brand get created how careful are people in the film industry about creating their brand?
See, the thing is, you need to know, like, for example, like Kamna Ranaut, she very openly said that I'm not going to do a fairness brand. Like
Okay.
beauty, fairness, and not beauty, these fairness creams and all of that. Because it doesn't resonate with her, like, it doesn't resonate with her. She doesn't feel like that is something that we should promote. And I think that's fine. But like that's her choice and everything. So if a jewelry brand is coming to you and on paper everything seems fine, because clearly if the government can't catch you for so long and then you got caught, how are the artists supposed to know about that? If they promote something that they're okay with, then why not? Like, I love the fact that Ranveer Singh recently promoted about men's sexual awareness. I think that's great. It's amazing, right?
He's the right brand ambassador.
Right or wrong is debatable. I also think so, but I'm just saying, but it's just great to see that, okay, earlier on, men would have not done that. I remember clearly nobody was talking about it.
It's a
Right?
taboo topic.
Exactly. But as society is evolving, he went and he did that. I mean, that's amazing.
9.5 years in one industry is a very long time, especially for corporate geeks like us. We kind of switch jobs every 4 years. 9.5 years in a creative field, after a certain point, doesn't it get monotonous? It's the same thing. Okay, let's paint the same chandelier. Okay, get the costume done.
Why did you switch from one company to the other?
I got bored.
Yeah, but we also we're not working on the same project for 9 years, no? We are also working on different films, different characters, different people. So why
What
is
is
it
your
not
role
the
exactly? As I remember, you're a
Mm.
continuity editor.
No, continuity and script supervisor.
Okay.
Yeah, so for when I started, I was an intern, headless chicken, like I told you earlier. Then gradually I became a third AD, and then I became a second AD. Then I became a second AD, and then I became a script supervisor, which was amazing. Script supervisor is somebody who needs to make sure that the script has a continuity all along. Like, I can't be calling you Krishna in the first scene, and by the last scene, I'm calling you dad. You know what I mean? It's a shit example. No, what I'm trying to say is that if somebody calls their dad, they cannot, by the end of it, they're calling their dad Baba. It's the continuity is wrong,
Continuity, yeah.
or things like from A to B. um there are no loopholes and stuff like that, like, just making sure of these things. Along with that, you're also making sure that your actor has all their scenes, and if there's been an update from the writer for a particular scene which has been approved by the director, the actor is immediately informed of that. You've shared you've shared the new scenes with them.
How often does that happen?
Every
Yeah.
day.
So what
Geez,
you,
on shoot 1 hour before, 10 minutes before.
so what you just described is actually the job, sorry to say, of a headless chicken. You're just running from pillar to post. Did you get this? Did you get that? Do you
No.
have this? Because it's
No.
there's just so many things to do. Sometimes you may lose your head
Yeah.
trying to keep in touch as
And
well.
as a script supervisor, there was a lot to do. But I think that if I would have started off with that, maybe I would have felt like that. But because I had a lot of experience already, I could manage it. Like, I knew exactly, like, I knew how to prioritize it.
Hmm.
Like, I know that if I'm going to shoot this particular scene and this scene has been changed, and the first shot that we're doing is probably with a secondary cast, and then then the so-called hero heroine of your film, I will still go to that person first, no matter even if that scene is changed, because I know I'm shooting with this person first. So just understanding, prioritizing, having a little bit of experience, I think all of those things kind of help also, right? Like, from where you started your career and where you are
Yeah.
today, don't you understand it a lot better?
Yeah.
You also understand how to prioritize a lot better. If this needs to be given attention to, then I will do this first. I know that this is important,
Yeah.
but I know that I will do this first. So I think that really helped. Yeah.
Who's the best director you've worked with?
Ahmad Khan.
Why? What's
I always say and I believe that he is my mentor, my guru. um, we did a film together, Baatein. Now I know that that film is not moving mountains, and I know that film is not cinematically moving. Like it's not all of that. But I think he's just a great mentor. Like he's just a great human being, and I think more than anything else, when you're assisting someone or you're working with someone who is just, like I said before, empathetic, it just becomes like you want to work for that person. At the end of the day, my name is still gonna come as script supervisor Sukriti Sharma. It's not gonna come as director Sukriti Sharma. But you tell me that, at 12 a.m. something has gone wrong. I'm like, sir, I'm there. Tell me how can I help? Because you feel like working for those people,
What was this quality that
Okay. So I remember this clearly. We were on shoot, and I think it was the third or fourth day of Baghi, and we're shooting in this open land and all of that in Bombay. And I was standing in the sun, okay, and he screamed on the mic, "Sukriti, what work do you have there?" So I turned back and I'm like, does he have anything to say to me or whatever? So I ran and I went and I'm like, "So I was just looking if this is happening or not." He's like, "They'll do it, no? They know their job." I was like, "Yeah, they know." So he's like, "Why are you standing there in the sun? Stand in the shade here. Come here.
Hmm.
Stand in front of the AC. Unnecessarily, your energy is gonna go, get wasted. Don't do this. Have you had water?" Things like that, you know?
So, another question for there's so many associate directors, a few, and then there's a director. So, what is the director's actual role when a film is being shot? Is he just overseeing the entire thing, or is he doing a lot more?
See, when you say oversee, that becomes the job of all the associate or the assistant directors and everything. Him, when he comes on set, all he needs to make sure is that his vision is being translated. That's exactly why they hire us, right?
Okay.
Like, I remember Sarkar told me on my first film, Piku, I said, "Sir, why does a director need assistant directors?"
Hmm.
And he said, "Your job is to make my job easy."
Hmm.
So that is why we are hired. That's why every assistant director has a particular role. Like if I'm a costume AD, then I am the link between the costume designer and the director. If I'm handling art, then I am the link between the production designer and the director. So the director knows exactly who to contact if something needs to be done on a set, and who to contact if a costume needs a change or whatever, So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I've got a more ridiculous follow-on question, but do you have something?
No, I want to hear the ridiculous one. What's the ridiculous one?
Oh my God. So when, so a director, right, he works with a script, which he may or may not have created,
Right.
which may be adapted.
Yeah.
Right? So it's,
Also, another writer could be writing it. He might just be directing it. Yeah, go on.
yeah. So, and I'm understanding the whole story here when I hear you say it. So, for instance, when someone like Steven Spielberg goes up in the Dolby Theatre and gets a Best Director,
Yeah.
how much of that work is actually him vis-a-vis so many other people under him?
See, my job, okay, when we work at, okay, now I'll answer your question. Just different. Okay, here's the thing. As an assistant director, when I'm going on set, I'm not doing anything creatively. I am actually just handling technical work, which is to make sure that if for example, I'm the costume AD, I'm just making sure that my character is ready on set at this time. There's his costume is looking great in every shot, etc., etc. Was there any creativity involved? No. That director who's going to be sitting in front of the monitor has to make sure that the line is delivered exactly what the emotion needs to be. Right? He's not looking at it with the lens of what did the actor get ready on time, etc. He's not doing that. That's my job. Correct? He's looking at, if we're shooting a scene, are his costumes looking okay for that particular scene. He's also looking at the fact that the lines have been delivered in the emotion that he would like. He's also looking at the production design. Does that sit well with that particular scene? He's also looking at the framing after that. So all of that is his vision. So of course he deserves that best director, best whatever.
Could you walk us through these steps? Pre-production,
Sure.
actual production, and what happens post-production?
Pre-production, when they're hiring a team, is
Mhm.
still a lot after, when probably the producer and director, and if you have a writer, if the director is not writing it, that writer have mulled on it for so long. After that, feel okay, you know what, we can develop this into a project, is when a team is formed, is when the producer says, chalo, अभी पैसे लगाने हैं, let's hire a team. Then pre-production happen. What happens on pre-production is you end up making schedules and stuff like that. If you don't have a schedule, how can you shoot a film, correct? So a schedule is made. Based on that schedule, what are your actor dates, etc., that you need? What will they wear in the shot? What will the theme be of the production design? All of those taam-jam happens in pre-production. Then the production comes. Everything that you've done in pre-production now is going to come to life. Correct? So, like, for example, today I've decided that I want a Jimmy Jip. Like, in pre-production, I decided that this shot will need a Jimmy Jip.
What's a Jimmy Jip?
You've seen, you put the camera and then it goes up like that
Ah,
big.
okay.
Yeah. So all of those things that you've decided in pre-production, that's coming to life in production. Like, okay, now he's worn this costume, now he's done this makeup, now the production design, your set is looking a certain way. All of that, everything is coming to life in production. Then comes your post-production. Post-production is when you take your film on edit. So editing is actually magical, because edit can change the game.
Mhm.
Edit is, I genuinely feel a lot of films are made on edit, because it's such a powerful tool that you can actually change even the emotion of the scene within an edit.
Mhm.
So editing is a very powerful tool. So you get a great editor on board, and then you're editing your film and everything, and then you have the color grading, like I said. All of those things happen on edit. Your sound, your BGM beat, like I cannot emphasize enough about how important background music is in a shot. It's a game changer, right? So then your entire film gets packaged and stuff like that. So that becomes your post-production. And then you have promotions, etc., of the film, and then it releases.
The most fun for you and where you are applied the most is post-production?
So see, when I started working as a script supervisor is when I started working in post-production, because before that, as an assistant director, your work ideally finishes right after production. They don't really need you for post-production, because then you have people who are handling stuff in post-production, no? The editor has their own assistant, you already have somebody who is your sound designer, etc. So pretty much your work finishes there. As when I started doing script and continuity, I started going for dubbing sessions with the actors and stuff like that. Like, I would sit with the sound designer and we were doing the dubs and all of that of the actor.
Why
Because
are
I know
dubs
the
needed?
script,
Why are dubs needed?
because on-set sound is very difficult.
So same thing, same emotion, they have to now convey behind the...
Yes, and that is an art, guys. That's an art. That's a true art, for not having anything around you but a mic put in front of you, and I'm just looking at the visual, because what the editor has cut and whatever, and I have to emote. So I think dubbing is...
Even in today's day and age, that we can't do a live mic and...
You can, but the thing is, India is an extremely crowded place. And it's difficult. So Mario, how are you?
I'm doing perfectly fine. Now that you asked, one of the favorite movies or series I watched was Game of Thrones. You've seen Game of Thrones? Okay, so in one particular scene of Game of Thrones, they shoot this in Spain in this huge castle. So Game of Thrones span like 6 or 7 seasons, and one scene where there was this woman who fell in love with a guy, and romance happened in this castle. Now, 5 or 6 episodes, hear me out later, they are at each other's throats. Now, here's the thing. the director knows the plot. Now, I'm guessing that since both these two scenes took place in the same castle over multiple episodes, for the purpose of, making it efficiency, they would have shot these two scenes on the same day instead of sequentially going through the entire episode by episode. Or does it happen episode by episode? How does it work?
First of all, it happens location by location. So nobody has that kind of budget to go in sequence.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say if we're in Krishna's house and there are 3 scenes in the entire film that are going to be happen in Krishna's house, then we'll shoot the 3 scenes here and move on to the next location. So they would have probably scheduled it that way. I've not seen it, so I don't know what you're talking about, but it would have been if there's a castle and there are 3 scenes in the castle, they're going to shoot the 3 scenes in the castle and then move on to the next episode, next location. But a lot of times when you're shooting,
That's okay. That usually happens. The timing of our podcast is such that no matter how many precautions we take, there will always be somebody wanting to do construction while we talk.
Yep. So, but in series, especially as big as GOT, there can be times where different directors shoot different episodes. So, let's say within the episode, there are 3 scenes in the castle, then they'll probably shoot those 3 scenes, so the rest of it can go on edit.
Okay, so here's my question, because I'm thinking it from the angle of so the director sees the whole plot from top to end, right? Now the actor just acts as per what he's told. Now, for instance, it's not in a sequence for the director. It's okay. He knows the plots. The actor has to put him or herself into these acting roles really fast. I mean, he's in love and he's at her neck the next minute, whereas the next moment they have to continue that love triangle in different places. Does this take a toll? How do actors just move in and out of these roles?
So first of all, even the actor is going to know what's the graph like because the script would have been shared with the actor, correct? So again, this comes back to we spoke about in the beginning of the podcast how it can be the time between cut is the most difficult for that actor because you're going into a character and then you're cutting out of it. So you are not an actor if you're not able to portray these things, right? That is your job. If you can't justify that, then why are you here? So if my scene is a love scene, I should be able to portray that. But if I'm supposed to kill you in the next scene, then I have to do that with conviction as well. Otherwise, what am I being paid for? So yeah, that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
My mother's been giving me emotional blackmail on the side. Puchna, ek baar puchna. So I have to. How hard is it for you to be a woman in the industry?
Not at all.
That is so not the answer she was expecting.
Yeah, but times have changed, no? I mean, you have a Zoya Akhtar, you have a Reema Katki, you have a Farah Khan, and they're all making very, very different films. I think times have changed now, even outside of the film industry where, women are killing it in life. I mean, let's take it from a Kalpana Chawla to everybody else, It's amazing. Being a woman is amazing. And 2, I have not had any problems personally being a woman in the industry. I love it. I love who I am and I love what I do.
It's refreshing to hear that because I was expecting you to go on the rant and then I had backup data ready. Because I thought you would say something like, oh, it's such a atyachar and we go through this and we go through that and all that. But it's refreshing. I'm really happy to hear, first of all.
No atyachar.
Kind of proud of the fact that that's the answer I got.
Yeah, but look at the women. I mean, they're absolutely killing it. Whether it is the actresses that we have, like an Alia or a Deepika or a Priyanka Chopra. Even actresses like Raveena Tandon are making a comeback in like Arnayak and Sushmita Sen, like we spoke earlier. I mean, it's phenomenal, right? Even Karishma Kapoor is back and I love her. So,
do you have any insight into how difficult it must have been for them originally?
Yeah, it would have been very difficult for them. I don't know if people have ever thought about it, but vanity vans didn't exist earlier. So imagine doing all of that hair and makeup and just sitting on set. If you didn't have vanity vans, even going to a washroom is so hard for a woman. Have you thought of that?
If you're doing it on set, I mean, is
You're
there
sitting
AC
on
on set?
set. No,
No AC on set.
no.
So
All of
makeup,
these
hair, and
things
all,
are
you're
like,
just sitting.
yeah, exactly.
How do you manage sweat and stuff
That.
all the time?
Yep. Yep. Not now. Now we have vanity vans. Now we have ACs, portable ACs, that anacondas that come on set and all of that stuff. Now it's like a game changer. But back in the day, it must have been so tough on them. So tough on them. Take it one generation before that also, when you had Hema Malini and, Jaya Bachchan and all of these people, it would have been even tougher. Because for men, to go to the washroom is extremely easy. Ek kona pakad, But for women, it's not that easy. So just if you think of all of these things, yeah, it was very difficult, yeah.
So, a controversial question. Back in the day, 10 or 20 years ago, we heard about this thing called the casting couch. Does it still exist or has it vaporized?
I won't know, honestly, because I personally also don't know of any such incidents. So yeah, I have nothing to say about it, yeah. Because I also, when you don't have enough information about something and then you comment about it,
Yeah.
I think it's stupid.
Yep.
And I'm not stupid. So I don't know.
If it exists, what are some precautions newcomers should take? I'm guessing the obvious,
See,
like
honestly,
don't put
each-
yourself in that situation.
Honestly, each to their own, right? Like if you feel that you have something to offer and they have something to offer back, and if it resonates with you, your ethics, okay.
If they don't want to be surprised with it, what are some precautions they should take? Maybe not do.
Yeah, don't when a producer will tell you can come to my hotel room for a meeting, don't go. That's a big precaution and a big red flag, no? And I think I genuinely believe women are very smart and have always been. So when somebody is saying something like that, you instantly know what it indicates, no? And if you've gone, then you also know what you're in for.
I don't know where I stand on this, but I want to give you my perspective. When I was younger, actresses were overly glorified for sex. In the sense they were shown sexy,
Objectified.
Objectified. They were shown sexy. The item number songs. There were some songs where heroes would be like pretty much trying to pull the dress off the hero, and those kind of things used to happen in the 90s and 2000s. And I was watching movies. It does happen now as well. But I have seen actresses come out on camera, off camera, on tweets, on Insta saying that, no, we don't want to do this. We're not interested in this kind of content anymore. At the same time, we're seeing so much content coming out from Alt Balaji, from all these streaming MX player. All these players are now showing. I'm just going to say it. It's pretty much porn.
Yeah.
Right now. Is the industry saying that, no, look, we want to create more content that seems to what is resonating with our audiences? Or is the industry saying, ki, yaar, this is two separate things. Let these guys do this, we'll do this.
Okay, Krishna, here's my answer to you, and I really hope this answers your question. Have you ever looked at it from a position of what the audiences want?
I agree with you.
Exactly. So when they're making all of these series which are like you said, derogatory and objectifying and everything, maybe there's a part of society which still believes that this should happen or whatever, and this happens, or this is what they want to watch, and this is the kind of content that they want to consume. So why is it only the industry that is pinned down for it? I am making it because I know people are going to watch it. So I'm making it. At the end of the day, why do we forget that this industry is also a business? It's entertainment business, guys. So when there are movies that are being made which have substance, which have a storyline and resonates with you, and you take back something from it, that's also a part of society today. There are lots of films back in the days also that were made, like Anuradha and stuff like that, which spoke so well and had such beautifully written characters for women. That was also consumed back in the day. Just remember one thing, the entertainment industry is going to give everything and cater to all kind of audiences. It's not just directed to one. Because a lot of people are not interested to see smart cinema. They still want to go and see an item number. That is why it is being made.
Demand
I
and
agree
supply
with you,
always-
by the way.
Demand and supply always.
Exactly. The society is asking for it. I made one series. Millions of people have consumed it. I know this is working. I'll make my next series. I have to, at the end of the day, I'm answerable to my producer. So why am I not going to make it? It's exactly what he said, demand and supply. So you can't hold the film industry or the entertainment industry, you can't just hold their necks. You have a problem with it, don't consume it. But there are people who are consuming it, and then there are people who also want this kind of, entertainment in their lives.
I agree with you.
Yep.
I agree with you because I believe it's anyone's freedom to watch whatever they want to watch.
Absolutely, yeah.
How do you respond to an argument from someone, not me, but how do you respond to an argument from someone who says that there is a prescriptive and a descriptive side when it comes to something like the film
What do you
industry?
mean by prescriptive and descriptive?
A film can inform, reform, or make you go in another path.
Okay.
Now, most people who used to watch films, that was their first contact with something outside their daily lives.
Yeah.
Like when in olden eras, you're in a village, you don't even know what Bombay looks like, Delhi looks like. You're looking at a movie, you're like, oh, wow, this is what
Yeah.
Bombay looks like, this is what Delhi. For them, this is their version of reality. It's not the same now, maybe. But even then, a film, if most people look up like crazy to film stars, massively. So when a film star does something, most of them think that that's okay to do.
Yeah.
So when someone says that a film star is doing that, hence now it's okay for me to do that, I think that's wrong. I think you should have senses and not do it.
Yeah.
But not everyone has that maturity to realize that they're not supposed to follow a film star. Yeah. How would you respond to that argument that a film should be prescriptive?
Look, you firstly you questioned it and then you answered it within your question.
People
So-
aren't as mature.
Yeah.
So how will you? So is it? Would
See-
you respond saying, "Look, it's not my responsibility if you're not mature"?
No,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I
Okay.
do agree that somewhere or the other, if you're making a film that's going to cater to a large audience, it is somewhere your responsibility. One.
Okay.
But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are consuming, and I know exactly the kind of films you're talking about. Animal, Kabir Singh, am I right? Exactly. If you're going
Since
to
you mentioned in Animal, you saw what happened, right? He
I love
told
the
the
film.
woman
But
to
I can
lick
watch
his
a-
boot or something.
I can watch the film as a film. I don't necessarily need to do what he does. You ask the question and then you answered it. People are stupid. Now, मैं क्या करूँ इसका? Now, if some audiences are going to get inspired by that and they think it's okay to do that,
Is there a line, according to you, for freedom of expression?
no.
Or it is completely up? You can make whatever you want.
See, this is a very tough question. It's a very tricky question, actually, because as soon as I'm putting a line, I'm also saying that this is where your creativity needs to stop.
Should
Right?
there be a line?
Yes, there needs to be a line in terms of responsibility. I don't think there necessarily needs to be a point on creativity.
How would you be responsible for your creativity?
You're asking Sukriti
You are
Sharma.
you're a very creative person. How would you be responsible with your
See,
creative output?
the thing is that I have grown up in a way where I am aware of my morals and my ethics. So I think that tomorrow, if I were to make something,
Okay.
if that probably doesn't sit with those two things, I might not be able to translate that into my film as well. I don't think I would be doing justice to justice to it either. Because if I don't believe in the vision, then how the hell am I supposed to shoot it?
Is the line on an individual level or an industry level?
Individual level.
So now that's a problem for me. Because what you would say is morals or ethics
Might
will
not be
not
somebody
be. And they
else's.
will do
But
something
this is my
well
film,
beyond.
no? I am the director, no? My producer can have a say on it, for sure. But I can always sit down and have that kind of argument with them, no?
Okay, give me
I
an
can
example.
explain-
Where is your line? What would something you wouldn't do? For example,
I would not personally like to see more chauvinistic characters on screen. Because I don't think that we need to give that any sort of what do you call like we should like I don't want to shine a light upon that. Those are things that probably if I was making a film, I won't do.
You
But
wouldn't do a Kabir Singh. You wouldn't do an anand.
but I don't have a problem in watching them, and I don't have a problem in just watching it as a film. This director thought of a character and he put it to life. Okay. I can just watch a film as a film. See, Krishna, even the people that you will meet in your life, they are going to be shades of gray.
Yes.
Okay. I am not a full black and white. Neither are you, neither are you. None of us are. Right? So when I see somebody on screen who's gray, let me watch that character as that character.
Grey is fun.
Gray can also have lots of shades, my friend.
It's complex enough where it's fun to watch.
So if somebody is twisted, you can just put, your version of gray on it. Gray has a lot of shades. 50 though we already know. But,
Nice.
But there are lots of shades in gray. So if somebody is just trying to show that character on a screen, then let me just watch that as a character, because maybe somewhere somebody like that does exist. So, like I love watching the movie. Like I love the movie Shining.
Yeah.
Do I want to be that character? No.
No, but that's
But
different.
I can watch that character and be like, oh shit, that's amazing. I'm mind blown. Or even Joker for that matter. What a difficult character to portray, right? Completely great. Do I want to be friends with somebody like Joker? No. But can I appreciate that performance? Yes. Can I watch it as a film and consume it as entertainment? Yes, 1,000 times yes. I don't have to be that. So if somebody in the audience is saying that I want to be this, I honestly think beep, beep, beep,
I'll give you examples.
Yeah.
If I'm a director, I would probably not do a movie about a historical character, which I don't agree with, which I don't think this was how this historical character was. That's the line for me. I'm not going to lie about or overly glorify somebody. That's the line for me.
That means you're not like Martin Scorsese.
Why?
Martin Scorsese shot the movie The Last Temptation of Christ. And he got a huge pushback.
It's a very interesting point of view, because
he's a great director. Yeah. He's a great director.
I did not think about that. I don't have a response to that, but that's a very good point, because he did show Christ. So I'm okay. I'll tell you why I'm asking these questions. I'm trying to get to the root of where does freedom of expression end, if at all it does. If you say no, it doesn't end. It's free for everybody. Do whatever you want. That's an answer. I'll take it.
But you have to understand that history is always written by the victor.
That's why I said, so I don't want to do a historical, but now that you said it, I'm rethinking that. Would I be doing
See, the thing is, Krishna, it doesn't, don't ever put yourself in a box, right? When you're going to put yourself in a box, you're already saying no to a lot of things. That's rule number one of being creative.
I agree.
Okay. So if I'm now something like when I spoke about chauvinism or whatever, I can shoot it in my film, but I don't have to glorify it. There's another way of doing it. That doesn't mean that if I want, like we saw Thappad, this film, Taapsee Pannu.
Yeah, man.
It's about one slap. But why should she take it? That's such a powerful message. That director does not agree that woman needs to even take one slap. Correct? Similarly, what I'm trying to say here is I can't put myself in a box that I will never make a film about a Shroff character. I can make a film about a Shroff character, but I'm not going to glorify it. My messaging with that film is going to be very different. My messaging for that film is going to be this character, red flag. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't think you should put yourself in boxes, but all I'm trying to say is that if it doesn't morally and ethically sit with you, what is your spin on it?
So anybody who is not a liberal would usually put themselves in a box, which goes back to the original part of our conversation here. If you really want to, if anybody feels they are not creative, maybe they should consider being a little liberal in their mind and seeing what creativity comes out. I think if you're conservative, you put yourself in a box.
Absolutely.
And then the answer follows from that. that there is no limit to freedom of expression.
So I'll give you a big example. In 2008 or 9, the movie Da Vinci Code was released,
Yeah.
right? In India, they banned it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
In the US, it was screened. I think I went and saw it before it was banned, and that's liberal. I mean, you have a completely different take on something, right? So why can't it be shown?
Parallel topic, but banning stuff never works. It just makes it way more popular.
Yeah, because people can still download and watch. You know what, then, to answer your question, it always says the more curious you get someone about something, they will find a way around it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when the minute, it's like, when you tell a child no, they want to do it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So when you ban something, you've just created curiosity for me to know, isko ban kyun kiya?
Yeah.
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 So I will definitely.
I forget the name of the movie, but in the 90s, there was a lesbian movie that was released. Where the first time they were showing mainstream lesbian.
I don't forget the word. name
What
doesn't-
happened was there were moral police who went and started tearing the posters off. We had a theater in Pune called Rahul Theatre.
Is it
They were
fire?
coming. No, it had, I think, was it Fire? I'm getting a
Yeah,
thumbs
maybe
up from
Fire.
my mom, so maybe it was Fire. But it had the first, at the time, the first ever time they showed a lesbian scene on camera. And moral police came, started tearing this thing down. Now, maybe people didn't go and watch it on the theater, but I would like to believe people saw it.
Yeah.
That is one thing I actually respect the film industry for. I feel like if India being India, one of the reasons it is because Bollywood kept pushing the envelope as much, not even Bollywood, I'll say the entire Indian film industry started pushing the envelope on a lot of taboo topics. The Kashmir Files, the Kerala story, any LGBTQ stuff, the Prime Minister stuff.
Cut you here
Yeah.
1 second and just say stop blaming the industry.
I'm not
Please.
blaming, I'm
No, no.
thanking them.
Because I'll tell you why I say this. What you're like you said. Yeah, you're talking about pushing the envelope. That's happened now, but it's also evolved because the society evolved.
Society was forced to evolve, I think. For example, Kashmir Files.
Yeah.
There are far too many people who did not know anything about what happened in Kashmir.
Including me.
I
They
think what
saw Kashmir
Including
Files and
me,
got
including-
terrified.
Yeah,
The
including-
Kerala story.
Yeah.
There's so many people who had no
All of
idea what
that,
was happening.
including me. I put myself in.
Those are movies which are eye-opening and which forces society to evolve. That, wait, what the hell is just
See,
happening?
the thing with films like Kashmir Files or a Kerala Stories, I also feel that they could be agenda based. Okay, because I don't know the other side of it. I have you showed me a film, and that's the lens that you showed it to me. But कहते हैं कि हर स्टोरी के दो पहलू होते हैं.
I agree with that also. Biases so that is why I think the series revolution we're having is so interesting, and these podcasts are so interesting.
Yeah.
the OTTs.
Because especially in series, you said Game of Thrones. I don't know why you mentioned Game of Thrones, but let's say you brought out Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, you can't decide who the good guys are.
Yeah.
People hated Jaime Lannister in the beginning. In the last season, he was apparently a good guy. Right?
Yeah.
You can't decide who the good guys are, who the bad guys are anymore, especially in a series. And I think that's what it should be. Have you ever read Ayn Rand? So Ayn Rand was one
I'm
of
not
those.
much of a reader, guys. Sorry. Oops, you don't have a smart guest.
Ayn Rand was one of those authors who had a big influence on me when I was a kid. She was one of those people who actually taught me economics. She has this story. She has this book called Atlas Shrugged. The premise of the book is this one person gets so annoyed with how people treat people who actually contribute to the society that he goes one by one to all industrialists and takes them out. And then watches the society crumble because these people are not there to start industries. So he teaches them that you keep abusing capitalism. Let me take the capitalists out, see what happens to the economy. I've really done a very crude summary of this. But the book had a big impact on me. But the one thing I think the book got wrong, which I think film industry and series are doing well, is the book said that this guy, the protagonist John Galt, was all good and the people who were anti-capitalist were all evil. Whereas nowadays, we see a lot of anti-heroes.
Yeah.
We see a lot of people who have massive
Yeah.
grace. There is good and bad in everybody.
Yeah, that's what.
Right?
Absolutely. I think that also talks about relevance, no? When I see an actor killing everybody, suddenly I'm watching it as entertainment, but I don't necessarily relate. But when you have something like this, like the anti-hero, but is the hero essentially, I think they also become a lot more relatable, no?
Very, like for example, Gehraiya. The story is so simple.
Yeah.
Right? There's a guy, he has an affair and he had a fiance and he had a debt to pay.
Yeah.
It's a very simple story.
Yeah.
But the guy was so complex and it was so well portrayed that I actually enjoyed watching the movie.
Yeah, because it's relevant. No, like you might not be that person, but you might have a friend who's been through a similar situation, or you know of instances where something like this has existed, right? Yeah, definitely. Like that's exactly why I love watching Zoya Akhtar films, or even Shirjit Sarkar for that matter, because
I didn't like the
it's-
latest one.
Which one?
The one with Ananya Pandey and those guys who were always on
Ho
Instagram.
Gaye Hum Kahan.
I
That's
didn't enjoy
not.
that.
That's produced by her. It's directed by her associate.
Personally didn't enjoy that one. I was trying. It was not.
It's okay.
Not for me.
Every film doesn't need to resonate with you. Or
I usually like her. I particularly enjoyed Dil Dhadakne Do, one of my favorite movies.
I love that film.
I like
Yeah,
so that end scene where Ranveer is confronting his family. One of my favorite movie moments of all time. इस फैमिली में तो कोई बात ही नहीं करता और क्या बाकी है बात करने का मुझे इससे प्यार है वो एक मुसलमान है डांसर है and he takes a chair and sits down. That was such a wow moment during camera. We were like hooting in the audience. That was perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
So the reason I bring these up is nowadays there is no, the movies which are doing really well are those movies where there's not a clear-cut good guy and a clear-cut bad guy. There is a person who has good and bad in him.
Yeah.
And how is this person navigating through life?
Yeah.
And that's something that's very easily resonated.
Exactly. See, there are films that are like that also being made, but then there are films who are doing big numbers like RRR. I don't know. I love that film. I love that film. I can watch it in the theater like so many times because it's so larger than life, right? Or even like a larger than life. Don't hold me against it, but I love Pathan because I'm also a Shah Rukh fan, die-hard Shah Rukh fan. So I'm okay to watch these films just as a film. I'm not taking anything back home with me. But again,
What would be the budget on a Pathan? I'll tell you why I'm asking.
a lot of money, like
Approximate 500, 900 crores.
no, that's too.
That's too much. So how much would it be?
Maybe 200, 300.
200, 300?
Yeah.
Doesn't a movie that has Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika Padukone in it, without any story in, would it automatically make 300, 400 crores?
Not necessarily, because there are a lot of films that have backfired as well. I do think that they need to have something at least, right? Like either you're calling me to the theater and saying, "Boss, I'm gonna entertain you," and that's all that I'm going to do. I'm just going to entertain you. I'm not saying that please try to take something back home,
message.
or I'm not giving you any messaging or something like that. I'm just saying, boss, come sit, get entertained, go back home, and probably go dance to one of our songs and just chill. Eat your popcorn, have your drink, chill.
Why do you think dance is something that is so essential to Indian cinema and not any other cinema?
Yeah, because Indians ride on emotions.
We do, right?
We do. And a lot of times, maybe, okay, let me give an example.
But this is one kind of emotion, right? If you look at a Chinese
dance has
movie,
many-
if you look at a Chinese movie, it's always two kung fu schools beating the shit out of each other, or karate, and there's emotion there too. It's just a violent kind of emotion.
But his question is not what is working in Chinese culture. His question is why does dance, like why is there so much importance given to dance in Indian or
Let me respond to him.
Yeah.
India has fight sequences and dance sequences.
Yeah.
We are that much of an emotion. That's an answer. They only have fight
So,
sequences.
you know, here's the thing. Now that you mention this, I mean, you know, when I travel in Southeast Asia, people say, "Oh, kuch hota hai." All these movies they bring out,
Kuchi.
and the music comes out. It's almost like for a lot of people, when they observe our movies, there's always a song and dance there, and this image is sung down. Even though now we have movies which actually have a lot of powerful stories, it's lost. People still think that we are the land of who makes movies where there's continuous non-stop song and dance. Is this an impression we should change, or we just leave it as?
I don't think we need to change it. It's just something that's happened, like it's been happening for so long that now it's just stereotyping it. Can we break that stereotype? I don't know, man. Do we need to? Like, is it wrong?
I think
Because
it's
a lot
become
of-
more redundant. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Most of the actors nowadays can dance really well.
Yeah.
But they all dance really well, almost alike each other. The steps are difficult-ish and they all have massive movements. No, we don't see like an Amitabh Bachchan style dancing, a Mithun style dance. Those typical, that this is this person's dancing style.
Yeah.
You can see
Govinda.
Ritik, yeah, right, Govinda. You can see Ritik dancing. You'll see Tiger Shroff dancing. You'll see Shahid Kapoor dancing. You'll be like, yeah, fine. There's obviously Ritik is godlike in his dancing, but you'll see that those steps are there. I saw your expression. I've decided, let me end that conversation right there. But the steps, the difficulty of the steps, you can believe that these guys can do it. But is there a unique way? Like, you know that Amitabh will always do these kind of steps.
See, the thing is, as we're also, as everything is evolving, you have to understand that a lot of these songs, they might have choreographies or whatever, but nowadays songs get popular, maybe not by listening to them on radio or television or whatever,
YouTube,
but
yeah.
they are getting popular by people making reels on Instagram.
Yes.
So what happens is they'll give a crazy hook step, and then suddenly the actor is gonna come and say, "Now you do a hook step and put your videos." That's how I heard the song. I've not heard this because it came on the radio. I'm not even listening to the radio. So I think that kind of that kind of answers your question,
Yeah, it
right?
does.
Exactly. But that's also with the times evolving and everything.
You know, Dimple abuses me a lot. One of the biggest reasons she abuses me is I never used to have an Instagram account.
Right.
I had to change that when I had to take a position at our home club, the Mumbai
Yeah.
Toastmasters. I had to take a position. I had to be on Instagram, so I did.
Oh.
I've still not deleted my account, but I've hardly posted anything.
Yeah.
All I do is I send her really stupid reels as punishment, which she loves, by the way. She absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm changing tack here. Completely going.
No, but this was a great point. I didn't think about this. That Instagram Reels as a way of promoting a movie and a song,
It is.
because the Badshah's that song, the
Ki pagal hai, that one?
no, the one where he was actually dancing with that actress, with that lady who only came off of that one video.
Oh, tarinana.
I never heard of that song, but I saw
Yeah.
so many reels of Tiger Shroff dancing to it, and so I literally heard the song for the first time by watching it on Instagram.
Yeah.
He yawned again. I swear, I'm
Really?
gonna make a
Seriously?
joke. I swear, I'm
Please.
gonna make a joke.
Go ahead. Let's hear a new joke.
Dare you yawn when I'm
Let's
speaking?
go.
When she's speaking, I can
Let's
understand.
hear-
How dare you yawn?
Let's hear the-
We have it on camera.
Yeah, please edit. I'd love to see me on.
I'll tell you why. There's something called as interesting people, and then there's something called as not so interesting people.
And there is something called it's his bedtime. He is that age now. Yawn.
Oh, that's a comeback, is it?
Go on. What is your question?
Okay, so I'm gonna come to the women angle again. So if I look at women, how they actually over time, the whole concept of women at home, juggling many tasks, doing many things at once, having lots of empathy. When you act, right, it's the empathy and the whole acting which comes out. You think women are natural actors because they bring so much of their personality and character where they grew up into the film? Do you, and this is just a hypothetical case, I may be wrong. Do you think women take naturally to acting because the empathy more than men?
It's such a nice way of asking that women are naturally overactors. So are they good at
No,
acting?
no, I chose my words very carefully.
You
Don't poison the pool. Don't poison the pool, please.
that is what he just asked. Sukriti, get it.
I'm sorry, first of all. But my reply to that is empathy is not gender related. Empathy is human related. So if
Shame on
that
you,
is
Mario.
the way you think, then I think there's some homework to do. But
Definitely. Shame on you, Mario. Mario. How dare you?
so it's like if you think that you women are more empathetic, that's why they naturally can act. Buddy, go home. You've got some work to do.
Yawn again. See what
No, I'm not learning again.
So yeah. That is my answer to it. I not wish to answer this. My contribution to this is silence. You have anything to ask?
I do not empathize with.
Yeah.
Mario, in Malaysia, how big is the film industry?
Not as big as
Obviously not, but how big, like the actors there, are they like very famous? How do Malaysian people react?
Locally, they're famous. I would guess it's as big as Indonesia, the
I
same
think
size.
Malaysia is slightly more bigger because they've gone a little more commercial and stuff like that. And even one of the films, was like, suddenly got like a global recognition and stuff like that. They're doing slightly bit better, I feel. Yeah.
I asked this question because sorry, Mario, 1 second. Technically, I've asked this question before to someone. I said, why is that Mission Impossible people are able to do these stunts and we have like a Pathan or a Tiger type stunts? Why can't we have more realistic stunts? And the answer I got at that time was twofold. One, that technically we might not be there. But two, it's like, look, if audiences are coming here and believing this anyway, why should we spend the time to upgrade? Is that a valid answer?
Neither of them are valid. One, if I want to shoot that kind of sequence, if I have the budget, I can call that action director and I can ask them to direct my action. Second, what was your second point again?
That if people are coming to the theater anyway to see
correct.
Salman Khan do this, why do I need to make it a more intense, high intensity
Correct.
stuff?
But the action that they kind of do is very slick and, all of that, very cut. Again, coming back to action also is so emotionally this thing with us that till the time I don't see an Ajay Devgn throw his shades like that, or shades thoda aise ghume, and that helicopter comes like that and he's holding the helicopter, that it won't hit me, man.
I get that.
It won't like,
Which is why in places like, in India, and I'm not sure Indonesia.
Can I just add to that one more thing? I don't think there's a problem with it. We are so quick to be like, हॉलीवुड में ये होता है, बॉलीवुड में क्यों नहीं होता है? मुझे एक हॉलीवुड का ऐसा एक्टर मिलाना जो can give me the same kind of conviction when any of these Bollywood actors do
Chuck
that.
Norris.
Or even South films for that matter. Some of the no, I don't think so. I do not think. See, the thing is, it might look really unreal, but the conviction that they do it with, I'm still going to whistle, brother. I'm still going to do it. So we're so quick to be like Hollywood. It's not a benchmark, first of all. So I think if we are going to set that as a benchmark, then please do not watch Indian cinema. It's not for you. Thank you very much.
I'm just so
Rajnikant has a huge following in Kuala Lumpur and Indonesia. His films run to packed audiences, right? More than a Western film, Rajnikant's film run to packed audiences.
And that's because there are so many Tamil people in Malaysia.
But even non-Tamilians come for his film, not necessarily Indians.
We'll have that cross. It's not a bad thing, by the way. I love you, Rajnikant. But I'm just so surprised because you mentioned Ajay Devgn. I can't remember pre-Singham Ajay Devgn, pre-Himmat Wala Ajay. I've kind of forgotten what that.
Singham are very.
No, but I only remember this now. For me, Ajay Devgn is Singham. I've forgotten that Ajay Devgn had done Ishq.
That's the power of.
Is it?
Because just think it.
Such a recency bias.
Okay, tomorrow if I ever jump in the air and I do this, you're instantly going to
Ajay Devgn, hai na?
Exactly. But that's how impactful it is.
10 years ago, would you have thought Ajay Devgn would be the action hero
Yeah,
of
why
Bollywood?
not?
Seriously?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Tell me one actor who can have his walk. One. He's not very good looking. Think about it. He's not that conventional good looker. Correct?
अभी काजोल को कर सकता हूँ, मजा आएगा.
Kar le, she'll agree with me, but he's so charismatic.
Yeah, he is.
Exactly my point. How can somebody be so relevant for so long? Because there's something called a screen age as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for somebody to be so relevant for so long has to have something, right? I'm a huge Shroff fan, like so huge that uske birthday ke time pe I am outside Mannat just to wave at him. Okay. That's me. He's also not a conventionally good-looking guy. Like if you just look at his nose or something like that, he's not really conventional looking. But his eyes, they speak everything that needs to be conveyed to me. He's so charismatic.
I had an ex-girlfriend who said I had some very melodramatic eyes. Anyway. Is that why you think people like Vidyut Jamwal have still not triggered or become... Because their action is so bloody realistic. That when...
No, I don't agree because Tiger has made it.
Fair enough. Vidyut Jamwal, I saw his Commando movie. It was quite good. You
Commando
did?
3, yeah.
So it was fantastic.
He's
The
fantastic.
action was very realistic. I felt like I could believe that he was doing all that.
He did.
Because I can see him.
Tiger, Akshay Kumar, they all do their own stunts.
And it's very believable.
Yeah, because
But Vidyut has somehow still not managed to convince the audiences that he is that action star.
yeah, but I also feel that he's not been packaged well and presented like a tiger has. Like a baggy is so nicely packaged, whether it's one or it's two or it's three. Promotions matter, packaging matters, all of those things matter. So, the thing is, today where we are, I do not feel just your stardom can get you everywhere because I believe script is game. If you have a great script, it might not pick up on the first day, but it will have that word of mouth thing, whatever. Because if a script is king, that's it. But tell me one film of Vidyut that you watched and you're like, "Iska script kya tha?"
Yeah.
One film. But for Tiger Baghi too, I love that script. What is script? I love Tiger also. Shout out Tiger!
He's doing. I've heard about Tiger that he had decided he wants to be an actor at a very young age, but he put in the work. Like I've
Anything.
never heard of anyone
Dude,
working
okay,
like that.
go to all the people watching. Baghi 3, there's one shot that he has. You've seen those massive tanks
Yeah.
that you have. He had to slide under that. Okay, so that means he's what do you call that? Split,
Hmm.
and he's also bent all the way, and then he slides under that. Dude, he did that shot. How many takes did we have? I think almost 15 or 16 takes. That man has given it all in every shot, every shot, every shot. And just because we're on this topic, let me tell you, we were shooting in Serbia for, I think it was like some 50 days sked or something like that. And we were shooting in -5, -6. One day it reached -10. That guy was shirtless for the entire
Oh.
period. Exactly. We don't credit it enough, but it was crazy because I remember myself standing with like 4 layers of jacket and that that ear thing, and I'm wearing my mittens and I've got like my boots and everything. That guy has done the entire thing shirtless, and on top of that, just to have some visual effect and everything, we've had 2 massive fans. Because that little hair flying or like the whole thing, it gives that impact on screen. He's had all of that and he's still done it with conviction.
Well, I
And
seriously have to ask how. Like, how do people do
Exactly.
that? It can't just be
No,
adrenaline.
it is. It really is. What else is it? Tell me.
Is there something they take? Is there some?
No.
Is there a cream that protects you? Is there?
Nothing. Because I remember the minute he would stop, we all his entourage was run and like wrap him up, and then he would stand between 5 heaters and just wait for his body to get little, unjammed, because in winter, how your everything gets so jammed and
And
everything.
you're saying he did 15 takes of this?
Yep.
Damn.
And I was a strip supervisor on that. That means I'm also taking down all the takes and writing what is working in this take and what is not working in this take so that the editor can then later see which one is the best take. I remember that clearly. And his back was like scratched because of the tank. But that guy just kept going and going and going.
That's insane.
Exactly.
No stunt double, nothing.
No.
Wow.
So it's the director.
You can see it on the making, by the way. You can go on YouTube and you can write Baghi 3 action making or whatever, and you can see it.
Shout out to Tiger, bro. Respect to you. Well done.
Respect.
I don't know why I said bro. Shout out to you, Tiger. You are, and wow.
It's crazy.
Have you ever seen anyone else like that? Was Tiger the first one you saw like that?
In action, yeah, first one.
Akshay Kumar?
I've not worked with him, so I won't know. But if I've had friends who worked with him, and they've always said that he's extremely hardworking. But up close person, I think in action it has to be Ty.
I'll tell you what disappointment I have.
Yeah,
Bade Miyan, Chote Miyan.
I've not seen.
Conceptually, what a fantastic idea.
Okay.
The OG action hero in Akshay Kumar, the up and coming action hero in Tiger Shroff,
Yeah.
both being Bade Miyan, Chote Miyan. The idea is so fantastic. Whoever came up with the idea, absolute brilliance.
Ali Abbas.
Brilliant idea.
Ali Abbas, yeah.
Man, they could have
That's
done
awesome.
that. Movie should have been so much better than what they made. There is so much you could do with the idea of Akshay Kumar as Bade Miyan and Tiger Shroff. The comedic element writes itself. I wish, like, these are creative pairings which our ideal Ritik and Tiger. That was perfect. I don't know
Yeah,
why they had to kill off Tiger Shroff for no reason. Tiger should have been part of the spy franchise now. It have been, he's like made for that franchise.
yeah, but maybe I think YRF might just give him his own, you know,
Maybe.
which they should, because he is too good. He's really, really hardworking. It's unbelievable.
Who do you think right now has not gotten the credit yet, but you think in the next 5 years they're going to be untouchable?
Untouchable. Very hard to say, but who hasn't got credit? I really like Ishan Khattar.
Oh, that's a good one.
Beyond the Clouds, if you see, or if you see Deepa, or if you see the short film that he did, what's it called? It's on Hotstar. I find something really, um, like his eyes again, you know, he's got something like there's this spark about him. There's really this spark about him. Like I think he's yet to get that. Like I think like one director just needs to do that justice and like package him like that. Yeah, but you don't have it. So.
Which is the Indian director you think which can probably be close to someone like Steven Spielberg or George Lucas?
Why are
And I don't like that question.
I just want to
Who
know.
would you want someone?
Okay,
I
from the yeah.
Sharma, I do not need to be anybody.
No disrespect to Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg.
no
Awesome.
disrespect. Yes.
Okay. Let me rephrase my question.
Okay.
To think at that level of something which is beyond the country, two or three shot in 2 or 3 different continents, a story which is a little more wilder than
SS
movie.
Rajamouli. The best example. SS Rajamouli skilled it.
Yeah. Bahubali was good.
I love this story. I think Nagarjuna told the story on an interview.
Mm.
Nagarjuna was in Delhi. He was inside, I think, the film house or he's inside a museum. And there were only pictures of, yesteryear Bollywood stars. So he asked the question then, where is Shivaji Ganeshan? Where is MGR? Where are these people that they're not there in these photos? And they said, no, this is for Hindi and all that stuff. And he got very offended. And then Bahubali came out and the rage RRR came out. And now he says that when people go, they know South stars, they know Bollywood, they know now it's the Indian film industry.
Yep.
I love that story. I think that's how it
Now
should
is the
be.
time. Okay, now is the time.
It should be. Like, for example, how many people know that Aishwarya Rai, one of her first movies was Iruvar, which is a Tamil movie.
Yes.
What a brilliant movie that was.
Yeah.
If anyone's not watched Iruvar, please go.
Yes. I don't watch that simply because I don't see, it's so important for a director. It's okay to have inspiration. It's great. All of us need some kind of inspiration, right? Whether you get it from another director or you get it from your parents or you get it from your best friend or somebody, right? That's great. But why I've heard this quote. It goes like be yourself because everybody else is taken. So just keeping your identity, I think that is extremely important. And if you don't have your identity, it's very hard even for someone to go and be like, that was different.
So I'll give you an example. A movie like Sarkar, which was made after Godfather, direct copy, was still a hit.
It was not a direct copy. It was inspired by.
It was inspired by the stories. The theme was the same. Of course, the setting was very different, but the theme
way the movie started is so different. If you remember Godfather, Marlon Brando's sitting there and he's very disinterested.
Okay.
Obviously, it can't be seen
Once
by
guys,
scene.
see, I'll answer that question. Yes, it's an inspired by. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's copied the screenplay.
Yeah.
He still put in his own frames and he still thought about how this character is going to walk, how this character is going to talk, what is he going to wear, how will he interact with his wife opposed to somebody who's sitting in front of him and telling him the problems, etc., etc. I mean, all of that breakdown is still done, right?
Yeah.
So Ram Gopal Verma has still shot it like Ram Gopal Verma. The shots had those Dutch angles, etc., etc., which is very Ram Gopal Verma at the other day. Like Govinda, all of that tension moments. There's one close up of his hand like that, like this, like this. It's a very Ram Gopal Verma thing to have. So again, to come back to it, it might be inspired by. We all get inspiration from something or the other, but that doesn't mean that he's not copy paste.
Yeah, he's a copy.
Yeah, he's taken inspiration. So what? Great, fine. kudos. And he did a good job. I love the flow. Part
Sukriti,
one.
if you're ever on set in a gangster movie, you have to invite me. That's my favorite genre.
Okay.
According to me, the greatest movie ever made in Indian cinema, Satya.
Oh, nice. Good pick.
Satya is. Have you ever seen Satya?
I've heard so much about it.
Please
Never
watch
seen
it.
Satya epic, and Satya is probably Manoj Bajpayee's coming out.
Hmm.
Oh,
Piku
man.
Matre, one of the best characters he's ever
Correct.
made. In fact, the guy who played Satya, I haven't seen him in another movie since that movie.
Yeah, what happened?
I know this was such a good movie, and he was good in it.
So I've got some homework to do.
And
I'll
the
find out.
movie was really good.
Yeah.
For some reason, Urmila Matondkar was in that movie.
Why she's good.
Yeah, but she was only there for like 5 or she's not there for a full.
Well, that's okay.
Manisha Koirala has made a comeback. Now, you touched on this. So many actresses are making a comeback. And
Yeah.
this also, I want to give credit to society or film industry, whichever played a bigger hand in the evolution.
Yeah.
No one is considering that, man, these people are old and they can only do mother roles or, mother-in-law roles. Manisha Koirala's role was pretty good in Hira Mandi,
Yeah.
whatever little bit I saw.
Yeah.
Same way, I know Dimple's going to kill me, but the lady who played Bahubali's mom, why am I forgetting her name now
Ramya?
and I'm on camera? Yes, Ramya Krishnan. Thank you. Oh God, I swear the comments will be filled with hatred when I did that. But Ramya Krishnan's role, even though it was a mom role, it wasn't mom. It was a violent leader of ruling in the place of the king, teaching values, imbibing. It's a very powerful role.
Yeah.
I like those kind of roles are coming.
Yeah. So what are you asking me?
I know, I was just commenting. That's usually what we do. We don't have to always ask you a question.
Yeah, I agree. I also agree that just more than anything, I think roles are written, more roles are being written now. So therefore, more roles like this are being made. Earlier, there were very few films that were made earlier where a woman's role was not impactful won't be the right word, but would have a certain,
Prominent, maybe.
not prominent also, like a better word for it would be a role which has something which takes the story forward.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so in the sense, like there were lots of films that were made because like you could replace that actress with any actress. You know, now roles are being made where I'm just like, that only she could have done.
I am very curious about a very Indian take on films. I'll say Indian, but maybe it's just my personal take on films. I have a worst good movies list. For example, if anyone else watches that movie, they'll be like, what are you on, bro? For example, Gunda. I love Gunda. I'm obsessed with Gunda. मैं प्रेम की दीवानी हूँ. I am obsessed with that movie. The best flying uncle I have ever seen.
Money. Yeah. Yes.
This is Kareena Kapoor's best performance, I think. What, according to you, qualifies as the worst best movie? Mario, do you have one? A worst best movie? Movie that you don't understand why you like it. And if you recommend it to anyone else, they'll probably kill you. But you will watch it any day.
Actually, no, because if there was such a movie, I would probably quit it within 15. I have walked out of movie halls within 15, 20 minutes.
Such
As
a
a-
polished. Yeah.
Way too polished.
If I can't take something. So no, I don't.
You must have one.
Yeah,
One
I
guilty
have-
pleasure movie.
Yeah. Guilty pleasure, yes. My guilty pleasure film is Kabhi Khushi, Kabhi Gum.
I think every lot of people. But
Yeah.
that's not a worst good movie.
It's best.
Huh.
Worst good movie. Actually, so the thing is that it so happened recently, but I have a very fond memory with it. There's this film called Adi Purush.
Yes.
It's my best friend and I, Dimple. We have sat and watched that film and we have enjoyed it thoroughly because we've had the best time making fun about the film that it's just such a good memory. And I just feel like if like I see like some flashes of it on Instagram or whatever, there's an instant smile on my face.
I have to watch this movie.
You have to. Everybody watching Adi Purush Dekho.
I'll add one more movie to that list.
Yeah.
Booth Police. I
Once again, it's that the Jackie Shroff and
Katrina Kaif.
Yeah. Jackie Shroff is there.
Oh, Jackie Shroff is there. Yeah.
So, on one sec, there's that dialogue, that AS. Guys, that dialogue is. Who thought of that? That's amazing.
You're talking about dialogues? Who comes up with the lyrics on songs? Have you heard this one? Towel mein bahar jaogi, to halla mach jayega.
No, I don't.
Tiding, tiding, tiding. Do you know who the actors are in this movie? Rishi Kapoor and Juhi Chawla. I love the lyrics for. I think Bollywood sometimes should hesitate before putting the lyrics.
For sure.
Teri nani mari to main kya karu?
Yes.
Oh, that one I remember. That was really good. Yeah, that will qualify in the worst best movie list.
That's what we're talking about.
No.
The moments where you were like, okay. For example, everyone loves the song Jumma Chumma De De. You watch the video and it's a bunch of people spraying water on Kimi Katkar when she's on stage. So cringe. But we all love that song. What a song, what a song, what a song. The entire song is about Amitabh Bachchan getting a kiss from Kimi Katkar.
Yeah.
But we all love that. Even I love that song. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Honestly, if you go back and think of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai as a film, just okay, somebody says Kuch Kuch Hota Hai ka plot explain karna.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plot of the film is a girl is in love with a guy, but she is very tomboyish. I know tomboy is not a good thing to say anymore nowadays. But for lack of a better word at this point, she's tomboyish. And he doesn't fall in love with her, but he falls in love with the girly girl who then dies. And then the 8-year-old daughter gets these two people to meet again. Now she's all girly and everything. And now he looks at her in a different way when the sari was. I mean, think about it, guys.
You missed a very important point.
Sajan
No. They're playing basketball. He actually takes her sari off on camera.
Yes.
And we clapped. Wow.
Exactly. So if you think about it today, cringe.
Bollywood should hesitate a lot. I know this song of Salman Khan where he has the heroine's dress in his mouth and he's dancing next to her.
What?
Yeah, remember? This is from Kick, the movie Kick, the song with Jacqueline Fernandez.
Oh, yeah.
That one. Bollywood, there are moments Bollywood should consider hesitating. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
But we love it. It's our go-to place for happiness.
Bollywood also gets a lot of press, right? More with respect to the paparazzi, right? So, the paparazzi follows politicians, goes around, they hate them. But what's the relationship between Bollywood and paparazzi? Is it more of a love-hate relationship? We need them, we don't need them. How does that work?
No, so see, pap culture in India is a new thing. But is pap culture old? No. If you go to the West, I think pap culture has been there for eons. It's come to India now because there's so much digital, what do you call it? Like a lot of digital stuff is happening. India is getting digital, Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever. And also, the thing is that people have a lot more content to consume. Because I have an Instagram account, and let's be really honest, people have always been curious to know what's happening in the life of a celebrity. Correct? Earlier on, in like my dadi's generation and stuff like that, it was that they would wait for that magazine and they would
Women's Era.
They would wait for these things, one appearance of that one actor, and people would cut their posters and stuff like that. Then little by little, TV started and blah blah blah, whatever. Like the whole thing happened, and now we have come to the social media gen where it's easier for us to also be very connected with everything. So with everybody having smartphones and all of that, I think pap culture has become popular in India now because everything is getting very digital. But pap culture in general has existed for years. It's just new to India now. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Sukriti, there is so much I still want to talk to you about. I have to officially say this. You are going to be a repeat guest.
Aww.
We would love to have you back. I feel like there is still so much on the
Can
technical.
you add tears in post-production under my eye?
You tell them to do the frame, no? You taught us framing.
Okay.
do the framing thing that you said. But it genuinely has been a pleasure. There is still so much about the. Can I please compliment you for 5 minutes? Hey Bhagwan. Thank you. Ja. No, we have genuinely learned. There is so many things about the technical aspect of this which I'm still a little clueless about, but less clueless because of you. So thank you for that. There are a few things that Mario Rosario should go home and work on himself. His personality needs some work, and you need some sleep, bro. Yawning during a podcast.
Do you have any
I'm
evidence of
changing
that?
your name. You're no longer Mario the Legend. You are Mario the Yawn Sambal.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you so much, Sukriti. I hope you had fun on the Pineapple Podcast.
Thank you so much. Hope to have you back.
Just kidding.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.